Part 2. Poem number 1. Let's just go and see. This poet I know writes lines like olive constant little waves, as ripples caressing some shore, all resembling one another, but each carrying a hidden suggestion of imminence, of some birthing, of some new thing never imagined before. Each wave of polished suspense is reflected in perfect time and rhyme in the children's wide-eyed gaze, and wonder turns to questions as to what the next wave says. "Let's just go and see," said he, and she agreed. "Let's just go and see." That spyglass might be spot on. Or maybe it's just dust on the lens. Still, let's just go and see. In spite of maybe danger, their curiosity was as unstoppable as were the waves, and the reader could not help but become the curious child they were. Inspired by Jane Baskwell's book, Spyglass Secrets, in Sync Books. Poem number 2. She's a butter kind of fly that rambles and ambles, slithers and slides, then finally decides to alight, but for a second or two, long enough for a quick bite. She is a butter kind of fly, not spring's nuisance black fly, not even a miserable summer kitchen fly. Broad-shouldered she dawdles about. She's a monarch black and orange. She catches every eye. Spinning and twisting she defies all catching. She's a real kung fu master, not easily dismissed. She strolls and loiters about as if nothing better to do, and children's eyes sparkle. What's she about, that temptress queen, in her high state of survive? Poem number 3. Living for me has become an ambulance siren blaring in a panic rush on the peaceful country street where I reside. From afar, the siren announces its untimely birth, then slow dies on some unseen distant road. Gains arrive in my simple life and then depart with a diminishing peal, ruthlessly arriving and departing with no concern for drilling holes in my already fragile soul. I suppose I should be used to it by now, as this school of hard knocks plucks some rowdy red rose from some fine garden to pitch it on the altar in my home. Then she, the rose, dies a slow death, like the diminutive distant siren, as her petals curl now to deathly brown. And me, it seems, I too get plucked like some golden boy who soon, in the far, far distance, carries now a tarnished crown. Poem number 4. A world of made is not a world of born. E. Cummings. I get frightened by the blank page, like painters might an empty canvas, or sculptors a block of unformed clay. There is for me a silent space that slow begins to conjure up floating words of song, on the blank page of my empty mind. It must be so for those who stare at lifeless lumps of clay, and likely a note or two may begin to engrave a symphony. Must be that I have been here before, in a fertile field where poems grow that only feel embraces. But if I should blink, all may be lost. And if I should push the envelope, I may as well turn myself around. But if I wait, the muses may start to dictate to me, the scribe, who gently follows a birthing of something I know nothing about. A moth may fly into my chest. Birds may nag me to attend, and shadows may cancel all I see. A blank page is, I think, a grand invitation to witness all the secrets that mothers hide. All of this is not on the end of some production line. I've heard it said that the ancient founder of Tai Chi stood silent before a blank wall for 10 years before his art found its way out. Poem number 5. Beliefs and techniques were handed down by tongue-in-cheek, old-fashioned shadows still alive, as swords and spears appear. The town believes beliefs and cultivates techniques that ensure mankind's demise, as static as a winter tableau. And we are all waiting for spring to arrive. Poem number 6. A seesaw kind of life. I recall the old seesaw hiding in our backyard down here where I was never allowed. Imagine me, a mere 2 feet tall, living in my alone world here, and no one showed me nothing 'bout the old seesaw. I chose to walk the up plank here to what seemed a mountain, me giggling and panting, walking up the old seesaw. With wobbling knees, I thought I had to reach the top, and so I arrived at some midpoint there up the old seesaw, and then life began as my wobbly feet lost my grip there, and down I fell off the old seesaw. So even though my world turned upside down, I tried to figure out just what went wrong in my walk up the old seesaw. Time 2, time 3, time 4 were just as cruel, dropping me to my knees. I thought that old seesaw was some kind of trick to upend little boys' worlds, and then Jane appeared to show me how to play a delightful little game. As up and down we laughed and giggled and discovered life's just like that old seesaw. Down in this here I learned by chance to teeter and then to totter as I got my sea legs on the old seesaw. Poem number 7. The first hay was cut and raked up, rounded up like criminals, heading to jails of bars and cells to await their fate of being eaten up. I love to see the round bales in the wide field haphazardly scattered like friends and lovers in this summer gold tableau. I ache when the farmer hurries to send them all to jail. For now they move about and laugh and chat, each with their golden personality. I stopped the car to have my own long chat with these friendly bales just born out of scattered cut hay right here below an azure sky, and for the time we share together, we smile like children in a spring scene, laughing and dancing. I recall little me happy and dancing like those gold bales, and I too was sent to some prison cell we call life, just waiting to be consumed. And so the farmer came and rounded up my rolling friends, my gut just as empty as the pasture was. Poem number 8. Entanglements that pain. One great gift of growing old is the seeing and deleting of entanglements one by disgusting one. Trapping lines hang on hooks, hooks that blind seeing-eyed dogs, bound by invisible leashes, and we know the pit awaits the blind that lead the blind without any shadow of doubt. A simple snipping is called for, very sharp decisions, and, if broken, no mendings likely to be found. Some days I squirm my way away, but on others the battle's lost as I surrender little pieces of my heart. You know you got it when it makes you feel good. And this is so because I can only see one side of that tree. Poem number 9. Entangled living. They've got to be taught to hate all the people your relatives hate. They've got to be carefully taught. And that's from the musical South Pacific. Entangled living is, to most people, a comfortable complacency that pulls and drags and hooks one's undeniable flesh flush with blood and unhealed wounds. Entanglements are like permanent hugs with tentacles on birthdays and births' ways, like unquestioned marriages bound with rings of gold. Entanglements are allegiances to whatever god on which one's soul decides, like signing a political platform, making me against thee. As the song goes, they've got to be taught to hate all the people your relatives hate. They've got to be carefully taught. Poem number 10. A drizzling of rain frizzles out, when a driving, drenching would be most welcome hereabouts. This woebegone drizzle has power that's nothing to prattle about, as crops wither in this dry-out. Spring and summer slowly march to the inevitable cornucopia. In July, it's hard to guarantee a crop that farmers know better about. They know not to count proverbial chickens before they come about. Poem number 11. Some days, some flowers like to giggle. On other days, one might find a frown. The promised rain's not come. Impatience can't wait any longer and wither in the day's hot sun. Sunflowers don't seem to mind for now, but fewer flowers come about in this summer drought. Clover does not even bother to rise above the now brown lawn, so bees may just go hungry this fall. In town, those petunias hanging high in pots get daily special attention and are the only lush around. Poem number 12. There are those who like to sell the miraculous to stupefy a nation, with gods and demons both pretenders. They freely promote pleasure and pain in equal measures, peddlers in fear. There are those whose noses get twisted selling goods as demands to the people already poor and already overwhelmed by the fools at the tops of chains and fences, promises extending to the weak and the meek. There are those who would hose the simple folk with poisons and pesticides, people only trying to stay alive. They bandy about carrots and sticks till all comply, happiness being set aside. There are those who jump like monkeys, who steal, hanging on folks' backs. They bounce from branch to branch to distract the vulnerable and the weak, while the rich stay rich and the poor remain so. There are those who like to hypnotize and mesmerize, eyes born for freedom's sake, eyes now thralled by myriad screens, eyes like the eyes of Hitler's youth, all unshine in unholy unison. And then there are those who are free to see past all the magic and the camouflage. They pave a new old way for those who have no one to pray for them. Poem number 13. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up again. John 2:19. I am an erupting volcano, however, dormant I may seem, never settling down to one thing or the other, although eons pass in one form or the other. And when it's time, I take out chisels and hammers to liberate my soft magma and lava that move below unseen in some kind of perpetual soul. And when the world demands that I sign on any crooked dotted line of some silly manifesto, I smile and run to where I cannot be found. My quiet eruptions like to disguise as rebel or fugitive or renegade. And when I'm thrust into some corner, I politely slither away. Yet times are when my eruption reaches the sky with fireworks, removing all manner of foreign incursions. Yet I prefer to rest quiet as I rumble. I learned to skulk about sooner than most, pushed by the hand of Mother Nature, and so I became very tiny indeed, still as the mountain I was. I tried to commit to vows and other constructs that curtail my mind, but I never fit in with some get-with-the-program mind. Even though I cannot see the nuclear star that shines in my personal space, where foreign matter dies and inexpelled, I carry my cross to heaven and to hell. This perfect fire must be who I am. Rivers flow, trees wiggle, and worms burrow. We all being one of a kind that never stops rising as many ones of a kind. Poem number 14. Don't emoji me. A cheap emoji is not a substitute for a warm handshake that warms my heart. It's not a surrogate for that smile that makes my day shine. It's never a stand-in for coming to my aid when my day is desolate. It's never a promise of a rhubarb pie as pretends the deed's been done. And now the so-called giver is satisfied and feels justified with pixelated hearts and flowers, who now expect in return false emotional emoji money that only startles my heart. It's really a brazen billboard of promises that never come to life, serving only to startle and to control. By startling and hoodwinking, the seller takes away my favor as well as my cash, as just another fool gets tricked in the ass. It's a long time since caveat emptor ruled the streets of Rome, or, as Cummings declared, a salesman is in it that stinks. Fuck you, emoji fools, and stay out of my backyard. Poem number 15. Julius Caesar is not dead. All bow. Many people think that I am a fool bamboozled by shenanigans they believe in. Many people like to pretend that I fit their bill 'cause I don't say the things I feel. The king returns to retake his throne, as all the servants bow, sucking up, holding tight, all the pieces of their thievery, and all bow. The king returns from Gaul to celebrate his exploits and to secure his crown, showing off his puffed up saintliness, and all bow. The king in his travels gathered up many false visible virtues that bedazzled the masses, and so all bow. But in the Bible of Star Trek it is written, "He who covers himself with good deeds is indeed well camouflaged." And I, being circumspect, spot Brutus standing in the wings. Poem number 16. The gray day is given way to flashes of sunlight, arousing glowing tones beyond the trees, who decide to dance a bit, caressing some subtle breeze. The gray day is just another way to announce a day of rest for all the creatures who run about. The gray day is wrongly described as a possible rain in our parade.